Hey, yes, folks, welcome back once again to Tips from the Server Room. This is episode number 152. Try to get this mic around here a little bit. For December the 18th, 2019. I'm your host, Jack. I'm going to help guiding you through the worlds of systems administration, network administrations, and all fields of IT. Folks, if you have a chance, please check out my website at tipsfromtheserverroom.com where you can comment on these shows, and I hope that you do that. And also, if you want to learn the very best of Windows Server administration, check out my Windows Server course at jtclearning.com. That's jtclearning.com, where you can sign up for the course and begin learning right now. And if you want to check out my writings, I do have a blog that I post to. And as I told you before, I used to write for a local newspaper, but now I write basically just for the blog. I quit writing for the newspaper some years ago, but I wanted to keep my little corner of the world, so it's called jackstechcorner.com. And if you go there, you'll see some current writings. I'm starting to build some Windows tips in there. You can sign up for a Premier membership, and it's very inexpensive. And what I'm going to use that for, once we start getting some member in there, we're going to be building member content. And the member content is just going to be that, folks. It's going to be stuff that's going to help you along in everyday life of systems administration. So I think it's a win-win situation. Tonight, I am recording this show. If you watch my videos at 42 Technoman on YouTube, that's 42 Technoman on YouTube, you'll see that I posted a video tonight of an official unboxing. And the official unboxing was of my new, it's called a Focusrite. Actually, I got the box right here. Let me see here. Ouch. So I got the box right here. Hopefully this is showing up on the camera. And I should actually bring up my, let me bring up my, let's see here. Configuration Manager. Bring this over here. And let me see. Now I can see. Yeah, there we go. So now you can see that. That's the Scarlett 2i2 third generation Focusrite dual input. So this thing has 2 in and 2 out. It's a USB audio interface, and that's what I'm talking to you on right now with my my new Rode Pod mic. So I've been talking about this recently, about putting this into the system. Here's the back of the box if you want to see that. To do it more justice, check out the unboxing video at 42 Technoman. Where this video is tonight, this podcast, I'm actually doing a video. There's not much screen capture to it going on, but I'm going to, at least bring it up and let me see what I'm doing here. What am I doing? I captured the wrong screen. No, there you go. Okay. So anyway, but yeah, you can see the unboxing of this thing, and we're going to check out the audio and see how the audio is with it, because I've been using it, and on the video of the unboxing, I show you that I have like a really big mixer. I think it's a, it's actually like an 8-channel mixer, and I use a DBX 286 preamp. And in playing with this tonight, I may still use the preamp. I think that might be something I do just to get the audio gains up. But you let me know. You be the judge of it. Let me know how the audio is doing with just this interface alone. I'm going directly through this. I'm not going to raise the gain of the audio. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just going to simply go with it and just run with it. So we will see how the audio does. Just with the Scarlett, I can tell you it's going to take up a lot less room on my desk, and that's what I'm going for. And I hear this device is A1, so I bought one. And this is made possible from your proceeds. Your proceeds makes this possible. And what I mean by that is you coming along and using that Amazon link to make your Christmas purchases. That helps to buy this kind of stuff. So, of course, I had to put some money to it. I'm not becoming a millionaire off the Amazon link. Believe me, that doesn't happen for any podcaster. And I recently was watching, just to give you some more insight here, I was watching some people on YouTube. We call ourselves content creators, right? We create this content, we put it on YouTube, and the idea is YouTube uses an algorithm, and they give you a little bit of money for those little ads that pop up on your screen, but it might be like 15 cents for every 1,000 views. So if you look at 42 Technoman, I average about 50 to 100 views. So I get really no money on that, but you got to put up with the ads. So I'm thinking about, and a lot of content creators are going with they're creating a either PayPal donations where you can just give a donation, as some of you have, and I really appreciate that. That actually helps me also to bring new equipment into the studio. But they also use the other sites, and for the life of me, it just escapes my mind right now. But you know what I'm talking about, where you go over and maybe you'll pay for certain content we put up that nobody else gets to see. So, it might be like a subscription type thing, but you don't have to look to commercials because YouTube is really, the algorithms are really crazy, folks, the way they're doing things. So you got to wonder, is it really worth doing that at all and bombarding you folks with ads? I hate doing that, right? So think about that a little bit. The beer tonight is a Michelob Ultra. Very good, very light beer, 90 calories a can. You really can't beat that, huh? 90 calories a can. So there you go. So you can see the studio behind me. If you can see some of this, it is, believe it or not, getting cleaned up. I bought a brand new desk, so I have a new desk to put in the studio. But I got to clean the studio up first. I was thinking of repainting these walls. I don't know if I'm going to get to that or not, but this desk has been with me for, man, a couple different places we lived at and years of use. So I've had this desk for years. It's showing its age. And the problem is there's a storage cabinet on the left and there's a drawer on the right. The problem with that is it is stuffed full with stuff. I mean, there is stuff in there from ever ago. So I have to clean that stuff out and start shredding papers and do a little Watergate on it. If you don't know what Watergate is, maybe you're a little too young for that one. But anyway, so tonight's show, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit. I don't have a whole lot lined up tonight because we've been working a lot while at work. It's been keeping me very busy lately, getting a lot of new projects coming through the office and a lot of work for me to do. Still programming a lot of PHP and starting to put some Java stuff in there. So I've been learning that on the fly. So the PHP is not bad. I mean, I've taken some classes in that, but the PHP I'm programming with today is way advanced than where I used to be programming just PHP web pages to hook to like a basic database backend. So, but I'm doing a lot of that, and I'm still doing a lot of the VBA programming, the Visual Basic for applications. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But anyway, so let's start talking first of all about networking. And what I want to bring up about networking that I put in my notes here is it's very interesting to me that networking overall, used to be just a business thing. Used to be just in your office. You'd go in, you'd have a little network, and you would be able to do things with that network in the office, like hook computers together, put servers in, and you'd have a couple switches in your office or whole switching racks. But now what's interesting to me is that is coming into the homes nowadays. I mean, it basically started out with getting wireless from your internet provider. And the wireless would be a little wireless router, a wireless hub, where it would be like 4 ports in the back. Nobody really used those. Everybody just put them in, and all of your wireless devices connect to that. So that's something to really dig into. But today, I just purchased here, if you want to look at this. Now, it's not a managed switch. I didn't need a managed switch for home. But this is what is this? Let me see here. An 8-port. So I just purchased this little thing here. 8-port, 1 gigabyte networking switch. Now it's an unmanaged switch. So, I'd like to have a managed switch because I like to do that stuff. Put VLANs in and do different cool stuff. But this will get me by. So I purchased this because right now I think I have a 100 meg switch in the basement of my house. Upstairs, I have my wireless router that I purchased. I don't really use the wireless routers that come from like Verizon or Comcast. Or what I do is come out of the fiber optic, basically router they put in, fiber optic little switch they put in. And I come out of there and I come into my own router. And the reason I do that is, one, I want to have control of my router to the very port where I could upgrade the firmware if I need to. Two, I bought this router when my kids were younger because I could shut their devices off at a certain time at night and they wouldn't have any internet. And I think that's very important. And three, just because it's mine, I don't have to lease one. So if anything happens, is if it breaks, I'll just simply go on, and I will purchase a new one, something to replace it with. So it's to me, it's important to have your own wireless router. Don't use the one that comes with with Verizon, and I don't believe they're as powerful as these routers you can buy nowadays. And don't cheap out on a router. Buy a decent one. That's another thing you want to think about, is to buy a good one. Something that's going to last, something's going to hold up. This one we've had for, wow, several. My daughter's 24 now, and I think I bought this thing when she was maybe 14. So that's 10 years already. So, and it's still clicking along. It's still working fine. And all I do is upgrade the firmware and take care of it. The switch downstairs I've had for several years. That's why I want to upgrade it. Because now what we're finding in homes is your home, everything is connected somehow. We bought a washer and dryer that has networking connections. No. We didn't connect those up to anything. But we do have those. And the idea behind it is, because I said, why do they have network connections? Because the washer, when you put clothes in it, will tell the dryer how much weight's coming. And the dryer will know how long that it has to run for that load of clothes. And it will set itself up when the washer's done. You open the door, it's already set to go. You just hit the go button and you're good to go. It can also tell you, like with an app, it can tell you when it's running, when it's done, when it's on the cycle, spin cycle, whatever. But we didn't hook those up. We're a little bit old school for that. But what I have found in the house is we're running more and more media, a lot of media in our house. And all this media relies on a pretty solid network. I do not like wireless everywhere. I even told my boss at work, I said, look, he said, well, there's wireless everywhere, Jack. Why do we have to run new cables? I said, because wired is better than wireless. It always is, even though this is a 1 gig connection, and most network cables you're going to find are 1 gig connection going to your network card. To me, I guess I'm old school, but I just feel it's a better connection. And it proves at work when we're opening big files. We have big, huge Excel files our people work on. And if you're on wireless, it takes a while for those things to open. But if you're wired, boom, it opens right up. So it proves my point. So I did buy this Netgear. It is going downstairs. Something else I recently bought. We have, I said, a fiber optics. I guess it's a switch in the basement that you can bring a phone out of it. We have a home phone we don't use, obviously. It's not connected. We have what else do we have down there? We have your network connection, right? So there's a network connection coming out of that. And that's basically the two connections coming out of that little router type switch. There's fiber optics coming from our local cable company directly into that thing. So I have a straight fiber link to them. And then I come out of there with Cat 6. So once I come out of there, I run up and I come up into the studio to my router, my wireless wired router, and I plug it in there, and that's how I get the wireless to the house and the wired connections. But I wanted to put this downstairs to make everything a little speedier. But what I wanted to tell you about was just the other day, what happens is you get those sudden windstorms, you get that sudden power outage, poof, poof, poof. Well, the old Comcast cable days, when you had the hardwired cable coming in your house, screwed in the back of the TV, it didn't really affect it. But now what happens is that wireless router or that wireless switch downstairs, the fiber switch, will shut off. Naturally, if the electric pops, it'll shut it off. Now, it reboots immediately when the electric comes back up, but you have to wait usually at least 10 minutes for the TV to come back on. It's just the way it works, folks. I don't know. I didn't program it. That's the way it works. So the other day I went out and I bought myself an APC battery backup, or UPC, I'm sorry, battery backup, just a small one. And the thought process there is, I told my wife, now we just leave that plugged in, and now if there's a power outage, a short power outage, I don't have to worry about it. The battery will keep everything running smoothly down there. And I am going to be plugging this new switch in down there also and rerouting some cables and get that put together. I probably won't do a video on it because our basement is, probably like your basement. Maybe it's a little messy. So I probably won't do a video on that. But anyway, that's what's going on right now. And that's why I want to talk a little bit about networking in the homes, because I think as technologists, and if you're doing more work on the side and you're doing more work on your own, you will find over time that more and more people are building these elaborate networks in their house. So you have to know how to support that. I once had a client that called me up that said, "Look, Jack, I have VoIP phones, or well, he doesn't say that. He said I have network phones at my office, and I like to take one of the phones home and network it at home. Can we do that?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I had to run drops at different places in his house to put that network phone in. Basically, it was in his home office, so it wasn't that bad. So that worked out pretty well for me, and it works out for him. Now he can receive calls there, and everything works out pretty well. That probably brings me to another short little story is at work. I told you about the upcoming move that we're planning, and that's going to bring some changes for my life. And the one thing is, at work right now, we have a copper phone system. It's a very old system. It's been there for decades. Our office has been at its present location for 26 years. But now it's getting ready to move. And with this move, I said, look, we don't need to move that old copper system. To me, that's a waste of money. With how much IP-based phones are, we're going to look at going with an IP-based phone. We contacted some vendors out there, some companies, and we're going to be making that move to IP phones. What's cool about these phones is on my cell phone, there would be an app on the cell phone. And I can forward my calls right to that app. I can pick up the call. When I get to work, I can hit switch. I can grab my desk phone and start talking. We can also, with a microphone like this, I can talk to them on the computer. So I can be talking to people on the computer and doing my work, and it'd be like a big speakerphone. So I'm pretty excited about moving that part of it. I think that's going to be really, really cool. The second part of the move that's going to be a big change for my life is I've been talking a lot with my boss about it, and the drive is pretty far. I mean, I just started working there not long ago, and he goes, "Well, Jack, I don't want to lose you," and that made me feel really good. And that's great. I guess I'm doing a good job. So he said, "How much work can you do from home?" So I actually tested it out today, and I worked from home. And what I found was I had some of our staff members at the office call me, and I mean we have VPNs in the office, like I'm sure you do. So I was VPN'd into the office. So it's just like I'm sitting at my desk anyway. The only thing is I can't see the person. Well, I guess I could because we use Teams. We have Skype on there. I could see them if I want to see them. But we chat back and forth. And they said, "Hey, I need you to log on my computer and load some software. Can you do that?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I fired up my VPN and I opened their computer up. I said, "I'm on your desktop right now." They see me moving the mouse around, and I did my thing, and it was up and running in no time. So it proves a point. I think is the big point here is, and I told my boss, most people in our office really don't have to be there to do their jobs. With the VPN we put in, it's a solid VPN. I really like it a lot. I'm not going to go into too much about the model and everything of it, but I can tell you that it's a solid VPN. It works very, very well. And I mean, I can remote in from anywhere. And I told him most of our people, as long as they get to the server files, which you can get, when I take my laptop, I have a Windows laptop. I'm recording this show, obviously. Well, you may not know, but I record this show on a Mac. But I have my Windows laptop, my handy dandy Dell work computer here, and I could VPN in on my Mac and remote into all my servers. So I could do everything. Matter of fact, I upgraded the computer today to 1909. Yep, I'm taking the plunge. I'm going to 1909. And I upgraded that computer today, and I did it, sitting at my kitchen table with my laptop. So yeah, remote workers are a big thing. We have to get out of the old way of thinking. And if you're watching this and you are a CEO, I'll be happy to come in and talk to you and your staff and maybe bring some enlightenment to your staff and you about having mobile workers. It can actually be beneficial, but you have to get out of the old way of thinking. Now, let me tell you about the old way of thinking. I think it was a few years ago, you may remember this. Hewlett-Packard actually had a CEO, and probably, maybe 50% of their workforce worked from home. And it worked out very, very well for those people. Now, these could be high-level programmers. These can be all kind of people working from home, doing their thing. And they got their work done. The one thing I like working from home is I don't really have a start time and an end time of my day. That could be good and bad. This morning I woke up and I normally go to work and I start at my desk at 7:30 in the morning. More like quarter after, but you know how that goes. So normally in the morning I start at my desk at say 7:30. Well, what happened was this morning I actually woke up, I got a cup of coffee, my wife was in the shower, and I sat at the kitchen table at 5 o'clock, 5 a.m., and started my day. I started working. I think when you work from home, you're more relaxed. Two, there's a lot less distractions, especially if your family goes to school or your kids go to school, your wife goes to work, or maybe your husband goes to work, and maybe you're female, you're working from home, which is absolutely great. But it allows you to sit and really concentrate. I was programming today. I had no outside distractions. Email, but email is either here or there. I did have the one remote session I had to work on, like I said, to install software. They caught me on Teams, and I said, yeah, I can pop right on. Not a problem to do that, so to take care of that. But anyway, so Hewlett-Packard had 50% of their workforce working from home. So they get a new CEO, right? Well, the CEO they got in, and I'll say it, was very old schooled. And I told my boss that. My boss is a little bit younger than me, and I said, look, don't be old schooled. Old school way of thinking when you run a company is, if I don't see you, you must not be working. Now, him offering for me to work from home, that was a big shock to me to be able to do that. But he knows when I'm in my office, he's walked in hundreds of times, and I'm not sitting in there playing video games. I'm not sitting in there watching YouTube videos. I'm in there doing work for the company. That's what he pays me to do. So it works out very, very well. So the Hewlett Packard folks got a new CEO that wanted to see everybody. It was some female, and she said, there's no more working from home. That's over. So what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. They lost 25% of their talent. 25% of that 50% of people that worked outside of the company, outside the headquarters, quit. They left their job because they were used to working from home. Folks, if I can wake up in the morning and don't have to, like today it snowed, there's about a foot of snow out there. Well, maybe not a foot, maybe half a foot, but the roads are icy and slippery. And if I can come upstairs in my home office in a pair of pajamas, open my computer up and start working for the day, I would suggest put on a nice shirt in case somebody Skypes you. I think that's very important. But yeah, I mean, who wouldn't do that? I think that's a win-win situation. Don't get me wrong. I love going to the office. I love hanging with people, but I do find myself socializing at times. People coming in my office talk about hunting or fishing or standing around a coffee maker, talking about last night's dinner. So that's a plus. That's a plus. I was recently watching a singer, and he said sometimes, and he says Dad would say something like this with his hands. He says sometimes a curse could be a blessing, and sometimes a blessing can be a curse. And he put his hand over there. So that's the same thing here. It could be a blessing to go to work, and it could be a curse to go to work. Could be a blessing to stay home, but you're not as much socializing at home, so you could be losing at home. So you get the drift, but you just got to work those out. Some people aren't motivated to work from home. Me, I sit up here, there's nobody here. I put on my Amazon Music, and just like I would in my office, and I usually a lot of times at the office I have the door shut anyway because we have a call center right outside my door, and it just kind of muffles them down a little bit, and I just play my music and do my work. So it's the same as sitting here, except nobody comes in to say hi. Maybe the cat every now and then. So anyway, it doesn't look like we're going to get much into I babbled a lot tonight, I guess, and I think that's what I'm going to try to do with these shows is more of just kind of talking about the day and how the days go, how the work day goes, how the work week goes. I did have in my notes here talking a little bit about security policies and some of the settings I use. But looking at the time, I've went already about 24 minutes. By the time I close this show up, I think we're going to let that kind of rock and roll for next week. I can tell you, though, at the office, I've been working with the Excel, the VBA macros, and it's went extremely well. And I think I'm going to try to do some videos on that, and we'll see how that works out. But there's a lot of good videos on YouTube. I mean, I don't need to contribute anything to that. I mean, you'll get my take on it, but I've actually learned a lot from watching people on YouTube, and they are amazing instructors on there. There's one guy, I think that's all his channel is Excel, and he is unbelievable, his talents, and taught me a lot. So, but yeah, it's going well. So we took, well, I can't say we, I took personally a process that would take, like 4 hours to take a spreadsheet and build it the way we got to build it and put all this code in. We got to and put these different formulas in, and I took that down to a push button where you push a button and you can literally watch it in front of your face. It does it all in just like a minute or 30 seconds. So some people say, be careful, Jack, because you'll work yourself right out of a job. But if I'm not efficient at my job, I don't want to work there anyway. That's the truth. I mean, I want to make it easier on me and my day because it lowers your stress level. And you don't have to come home and drink too many shots or too many beers, so for that matter. Hey, folks, but I hope that the new Focusrite device sounds okay. The waveform looks pretty good. I can see on Audacity here that it's recording. It looks pretty good. I'll know better when I listen to this podcast in my car. Yes, I do listen to it, or at least scrub through it anyway to see what the audio is doing to get the feel for the audio. But and also on the YouTube video, I'll take a look at that after I'm done recording this and see how that turned out. But and it's telling me right now to download some software, so I'm gonna have to go look at the software. Maybe it'll do something else. I don't know if it boosts gains or what it does, but I'm gonna look for that too and see how that works. So with that said, I do appreciate everybody coming around each week. My download numbers. I told you before, I'm with this like Blueberry or Booberry. I don't know what the heck it is, but it's supposed to be like a podcasting type of stats website. They always get my stats wrong. They never, my shows never post there correctly, even though I put the header information in the show like he told me to do. And the numbers are just so far wonky and so far off that I don't even trust them anymore. So to be honest with you, I watch the YouTube numbers because I can see them, how many views I get. It would be nice if some of you folks out there would comment and say, hi, Jack, once in a while, and let me know that, there's living, breathing people watching this. I know there's a lot of people laying in the cemetery trying, no, that's not true. Well, it could be true. I could go and put a player up there and they can listen to me. But yeah, am I doing this for me or am I doing this for some folks out there? Hopefully I'm doing it for some of you. And some of you have contacted me and I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Folks, it is Christmas time. It's that time of year when you are buying everything from Amazon. I know my wife is, and you're buying a lot, crazy stuff from Amazon. So if you could, put the stuff in your shopping cart, close out that tab, open up jackstechcorner.com, click on my Amazon link, then go out and click on your shopping cart and make your purchase. That way everything's in your cart, and what happens is a couple dollars comes back to the show, and it does help out. A lot of you out there have been helping. I've seen a great increase. No, I'm not becoming a millionaire off of Amazon. Trust me. But it does help to buy stuff like the little Focusrite box that I just picked up. Hopefully that's going to work out for me the way, I planned it to. It looks, like I said, it looks good so far. We will see how it works out there. It's funny how far the audio gain has to be up for this microphone, but it's working, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, so use that link, or you can also visit tipsfromtheserveroom.com. There's also an Amazon link there. They both link back to the same account, so either or is great and fine by me, and I very much appreciate it. So, folks, thank you very much for listening, downloading, or watching Tips from the Server Room. This is episode number 152, and it is going to be on YouTube. I will compress that video down as soon as I'm done recording and get that up at 42 Technoman so you can watch me talk. I didn't do much else tonight on the show, and I'm sorry. I like to do some demos or something else, and we'll talk more about that. Or let me know if you think this is a great new way for the show. Just to sit and talk with you guys about the week, about how work is going. So, and hopefully we'll have more to talk to you next week about. So take care, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next week at Tips from the Server Room. Bye-bye for now, everybody.